Welcome to the Two Blokes Chatting radio show on 94.7 The Pulse. Music, interviews, news, and, well, Two Blokes Chatting. Now, here are the two blokes.
Very, very disappointed, Rob, that the other night we were fortunate enough to be in the company of Radio Greatness, and he had the opportunity with Sarah Pike to actually do that duet, and he missed out on that opportunity. Who have we got on the line?
It is, I spent a bit of last Saturday afternoon watching a wonderful game of cricket, and it come to the attention of Ian Cover that was two spectacular tight finishes he'd seen at KP within 24 hours, and we couldn't not talk about it. Ian Cover, good morning.
Good morning, Rob. Good morning, Neil. And my big thanks to Olivia Newton-John, too, for just going long enough for me to park the car. So hands-free.
Magnificent, magnificent. No, it was a pretty...
Just before we talk about last Saturday, can I fire in a protest against Neil Butler?
Yes.
What were your stats on Simon Black?
He had 5 things going for him, and no, Jimmy Bartell never won the best and fairest in the year of a premiership. But there's something about Jimmy Bartell that should be there, and Simon Black is the only one.
Oh, because Simon Black won the best and fairest and Jimmy didn't.
I think that's it, yes.
Yeah, well, the other things are more, broader, aren't they? The premiership, Paul Smith, 300 games, right. And Brownlow encompass the whole competition, not just your own personal club achievement.
So every Geelong supporter protests Jimmy Bartell, and every Essendon supporter protests, what's his name, Hurd, not Shane Hurd, what's his name? James Hurd.
Right. Now, he didn't get 300 games, see?
No, Simon Black, and this really is something that gets on my goat. There you go. As does him gets up my goat, which is what someone said the other day, that Kevin Murray is not the games record holder at the Brisbane Lions. In fact, Simon Black is.
Okay.
Despite playing 11 fewer games than Kev.
Oh.
Because
so Kev's forgotten.
The AFL don't recognise Kevin Murray as a Brisbane Lions player. It's a disgrace, and I am disgusted. Ooh. I'm not going to stand for this anymore. I want you to go to the window.
Sounds like Digger.
He's losing it.
You're nearly old enough for Digger. Cove, we saw the cricket, but let's go back and just take Neil Butler through the end of the football last week. I don't know.
And moving on to the cricket,
what part of the ground you were watching, but look, I don't know. Is it a bittersweet way to finish a game? It's been talked about it. Any win's a good win, but you just sort of had to have cringed a little bit, didn't you?
Look, I didn't think there was anything in it, actually. I thought the tackle just dislodged the ball and was playing on.
Yes, the fact that he'd had it for 3/4 of an hour beforehand. Stop it.
I can't believe the carry on that's ensued from that. Those incidents are dime a dozen for the state. Look, it was not clear cut, not like Daniel Rich putting it straight down Zach Bailey's throat now. They couldn't argue with that.
Oh, no, there were a few Collingwood supporters who were whinging about it, I can tell you.
Yeah.
Amazing. I was watching the game, and when the boundary throw-in took place, there was 47 seconds on the clock.
Yep.
And you think, and Collingwood kicked it forward from that throw-in. You thought, well, there's no way that the Lions can win from here. But, boy, it only takes about 10 seconds to move the ball from one end to the other, doesn't it?
It does indeed.
With the opportunity that I now have with a microphone in front of me, I'll take you back to a game that happened at the Gabba where the same thing happened with Ashley McGrath after the game. You might, who was that against? That was Geelong. And Daniel Rich was the one that delivered the ball that night too.
Was it really?
Yeah, and that took 11 seconds to get from one end of the ground to the other. He didn't have the kick that ended up in McGrath's hands, but he had the one before he just about knocked Dane Zorko off his feet.
He's a very good player.
He is. Daniel Rich doesn't get enough reps for my liking. I reckon he's a fantastic player, and it's called football, and the greatest skill of all is kicking the ball, and he's a magnificent kick.
Yeah, he's one of the better ones.
I think he's one of those Corey Enright types that if you took it out of the team, they'd fall apart.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get the kudos that he deserves.
And probably when he was recruited, you thought he was going to be some sort of midfielder, but he is now. So many teams are now structuring up to have really quick or skillful players off halfback who distribute the ball and assist the transition from defence to attack.
Possibly the
from the D50 to the
D50
to the F50. Is there an F50 or is it an O50?
Oh, good. No
idea. Because it's offence, of course.
Would he be the quarterback style player, Ian?
Don't get me going.
Oh dear me. Now, Cove, let's go to cricket because that
a
was
little
the
less
one
controversy involved.
there was no controversy involved. They self-imploded. We were watching Geelong play Northcote, and it looked like there was no chance the Cats were going to win. Their finals hopes were in jeopardy after a magnificent year, and then from nowhere, two kids. Tyler Larkin was bowling off spin, and we thought, what the hell's he?
Josh Larkin.
Josh Larkin. We thought, what the hell's he bowling for? And then they bring on 17-year-old Jared Garner from the other end, and these two kids brought home what was an extraordinary victory.
And Neil, you'd be aware of the superstition that when you're watching the cricket and it's a tight finish, no one must move from their seats.
Correct. Yes.
Well, there's about 6 or 7 of us up in the Bruce Moore room viewing, including Sarah, who you just mentioned.
Yep.
And we were watching, and anyway, people wandering around having a chat. I said, don't move. Don't anyone move from where they are. It got very tight. We were counting the balls down. We were like 11 runs, 8 balls to come, 6 balls to come. In fact, then Garner in that second last over bowled the first 4 dot balls for that over. To a bloke who was on 120.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know?
Extraordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really did lift.
And then the wickets tumbled in the last over, and they got up. And that's right. It was even, dare I say it, even more exciting than the football the night before.
Well, yeah, for me it would have been. I can tell you that for nothing.
Now, you've got a fair bit of skin in the game, being a former Geelong player, off-spin bowler, and hard-hitting lower-order batsman yourself, but currently the #1 male ticket holder as well. So a little more than just a passive interest watching it, Cove.
Yeah, indeed. And this is where I'm in all sorts of strife today. I'm about to talk on the radio, and when the radio finishes, just down the road in St Kilda, Geelong are playing St Kilda at the Harry Trott Oval in the first quarter-final of the Premier Cricket. And meanwhile, if I was to dash home to Barwon Heads, I could see them unfurl the 2019 Premiership flag hosting Drysdale at home.
Aha, so what are you going to do?
I'm actually going out the bush. Because I've got a daughter turning 25, and the family comes first, as you know.
So how does that work if you're 37, you've got a 25-year-old daughter?
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Thank you very much.
That's very, very kind of you, Grandpa.
The G-dog.
Yes. Yeah, I had a similar...
I just I will sneak up and watch an hour or so of Geelong before I do head back down the road.
As you should.
No, that's good. I got the same problems. I'm heading off to Riddles Creek to a family function when I probably could be watching the Cats at Cardinia Park. Luckily for me, Mottawarri are playing at 6 o'clock tonight, so I'll be back in time for the inaugural night game at the Mottawarri football ground.
Is this the first inaugural game they've had?
The first inaugural, yes,
yeah,
it is.
Excellent.
So I was just going to mention too, when you were talking about you've immediately signed up Maverick as a Brisbane Lions member, how kids learn things about sport and in Australia even before they know it. My daughter, who's 25, she actually played girls cricket at Barwon Heads when she was about 10 or 11. Was quite good left arm bowl, left arm bat. Anyway, she learnt this one night. We were watching the cricket when she was very young at my parents' house, and sadly no longer with us. And we're watching the cricket, and it was getting tense. There might have been an Ashes, telecast late at night coming, And my mother, in her best style, got up and said, "Oh, well, I better put the kettle on." And as soon as she got up, a wicket fell.
Oh, dear.
And we said, and I said, "Don't do that again." And so I had to explain to my daughter what was happening. Well, a couple of years ago, we were watching that night when, remember, Ashton Agar was a smoky inclusion in the Australian team for a test match in England.
Yeah. Yes.
And they had an impossible target to make, and he batted for a long time with the late Philip Hughes, and Agar got 98. And he played a very good shot. He was stiff. He got actually caught it like an extra cover or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Rob. And we'd been watching, and I'd said to my daughter, she actually said, "Oh, we're not allowed to move, are we?" I said, "No." Agar got out. And my daughter turned around and she said, "Oh, Nana must have got up to put the kettle on."
Oh, dear.
No, well, the important aspect of Maverick becoming a Brisbane Lions is that his father is, in fact, a Collingwood supporter. And worse, now this might be something to talk about on Six Blokes Chatting this morning if you run out of things to talk about, is that he used to be a Brisbane Lions supporter and at the age of 14 decided to change teams to Collingwood.
No.
There was no dental extraction involved.
That's not on.
No, absolutely it's not on. And I'll be playing this interview back to him, that someone with the credibility that you've got, well, had before you started talking to us, it says it's not on either.
Oh, it's one of the first laws of football supporting is you don't change your team.
Well, I did notice him the other day with white shoes and an umbrella, but I'm not saying any more than that.
Hey, talking about the teeth, I did see something last night on social media, or it might have been an email to us for yesterday. I'll share it with you. They said, as a Collingwood supporter, it was the ultimate insult. Zach Bailey kicking the winning goal, and he's got a tooth missing.
Yes, it was quite noticeable.
Wasn't it ever?
And I just keep going back every time I see Nathan Buckley in a grumpy mood, which he seemed to be after the game for some reason I can't put my finger on. I'm going to go and play with Collingwood because I want to win premierships. I just to this day makes me smile.
Now, Cove, I know you've got no idea who will be ringing in for talkback on Coodabeen this morning, but it would be an absolute delight if Digger lined up, wouldn't it?
Oh, I think he might have been surprised we didn't hear from him last Saturday. It might have taken him a week perhaps to come get back to his senses after all that. There's half a chance he may be on this morning.
Yeah, I would have thought that...
He'll be blaming the umpires, wouldn't he?
Oh, goodness gracious.
Well, well, given that it's Easter time...
Yes.
he is known for alleging that umpires do Christmas.
Yes, well, we might try and get a bit of a listen to that, obviously, after 11 o'clock, because we're here till then, but we'll certainly...
I'll definitely be tuned into that.
Anyway, it was great to actually meet you in person the other day, Neil. I've met Rob before, and it was a terrific function for the cricket club.
It was indeed. Thank you. Yes, it was good to meet you too.
And
then we had the great Saturday afternoon down at the ground.
Yes, very good. And I don't know if you've heard the news, but Cricket Victoria have announced that they will be looking strongly at allowing other clubs into the women's section of Cricket Victoria. So that very inspiring speech from Sarah Pike seems to have hit the spot with Cricket Victoria officials who are in the room, and it's looking highly likely that Geelong will have a team in either the second or third division of women's Premier Cricket.
Well, look, let's just cliche it one more time. Let's not count our chickens before they roost. But that is a very good sign.
No, it is a good sign.
I still reckon you would have done better if you had done You're the One That I Want with Sarah. I think that would have probably been what they would have taken away.
All right, mate, have a good show. Say hello to the rest of the boys, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, all the best, boys. See ya.